Thanks again. Good morning for coming this morning to cover the 2025 launch of this year's summer camp. I think what year are we in, Ryan?
This 39th year.
39th year of the annual summer camp put on by the National Sports Council. We wanted to just hold this media conference to let the public know, because we've been inundated with requests, questions, all kinds of things, to let you know when registration dates are, camp dates are, disciplines offered, venues, etc. So to get the ball rolling, we will ask the Acting Assistant Director of Sports, Mr. Ryan Toppin, to offer a few words to just open and give us a brief overview. And then Ms. Tracy Leacock, she's the Summer Camp Director for 2025, and she will go into more detail about this year's camp offering. Right?
So good morning, everyone. First and foremost, thank you very much for everyone for coming out this morning to this launch, and welcome to the offices of the National Sports Council. Summer Camp 2025. This year has been a tremendous challenge for us logistically. We would have had some issues with some venues being cleaned or renovated, so we had to make some adjustments, and that had us under a little bit of pressure, but we're able to, through the hard work of the dedicated team, and I want to acknowledge Ms. Leacock, Ms. Aline, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Jarvis for their hard and tireless work to ensure that Summer Camp 2025 comes off, because we know the importance. You'll have heard Ms. Dormar speak that this is the 39th year of the Summer Camp, and it is a summer camp that takes little or no advertising. However, last year we were at 1,800 odd campers, which was a record number, and certainly we'll be around there again this year. We were able to make the adjustments, pivot, and get additional venues, new venues to come on board. You'll hear Ms. Leacock speak to that a little bit more when she does her discourse with the camp. We will be offering a few different things this year in terms of our life skills and working with. We know that you will get the training that you need, technical training for the sports, but we're changing up the life skills slightly, just a little bit, offering a couple new things and a couple new tours as well. I want to take this opportunity now to speak directly to parents and the campers before I pass to Ms. Leacock. Camp is always a lovely experience. It's an experience that you can grow, develop in your sport, develop mentally, develop socially. And camp has always been, we've always treated camp as a safe space, where when you come to camp, you're not only going to enjoy what camp has to offer, but you can do that in an environment where you don't feel threatened, you feel safe, and you know that you can just enjoy the 6 weeks. I'm asking campers this year, at camp, we will be instituting a one strike policy with campers. So when you come to camp, be on your best behavior. It's for you to enjoy camp, but being forewarned is forearmed. This year we will be having a zero tolerance approach to violence of any nature or anything of the such, because camp is about being wholesome and taken in the right direction. We will guide and we will put the resources necessary to ensure that you are safe, you are guided, and you enjoy your 6 weeks while learning or continuing to extend your knowledge in your current sport. So I look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks. Registration is starting soon. And I know swimming will probably be full first again. So look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, and have a great camp. Over to Ms. Leacock.
Okay, good morning to one and all. As Mr. Toppin said, we had to adjust somewhat this year, but some locations are still the same. So let me start with the swimming, Seaside Aquatics, swimming, Browns Beach swimming, the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium, which is here. We will have volleyball, basketball, road tennis, bodybuilding, body fitness, wrestling, and cycling. The skate park, skateboarding, hockey turf for hockey, tennis center, tennis, and the aquatic center again, swimming. At Blenheim, we will have cricket, football, road tennis, and rugby. This new location, the Ursuline Convent, that will replace Dighton and Frederick Smith, who are under renovations this year. They will have netball, cheerleading, gymnastics, swimming as well. However, that swimming will be regulated to 12 to 16-year-olds only. Badminton, and football, and that football will be for 8 to 11 years only, table tennis, and boxing. St. George Secondary again will house basketball, cricket, football, badminton, road tennis, chess, track and field, and netball. We also have on board UE, and they will house track and field, and that will be all aspects of track and field. Our life skills this year, again, we will target conflict resolution and bullying, and we have partnered with the police on that. RADO is on board, and they will deal with drugs in sports and doping in the athlete. We have again reached out to the press to help us with Meet the Press, and that will cater to the athletes who are earmarked for greater things. Water safety is always part of our program, and we do that in-house from our in-house trainers. We've also partnered with the National Nutrition Center, and they will come around and talk about healthy eating. Youth development program, they're on board to have workshops called Girl Power and Boys Knowing Yourself. And this year we have added Let's Unpack It, that is partnering with Dr. David Johnson, and he will reach out to mental health issues. So we're just gonna have a small intervention where we can possibly make it aware to others or identify some challenges with mental health. I would have jump ahead, and I forgot archery. Archery is going to be held here at the gymnasium as well. Our tours this year are the ever popular Bushy Park Go Karting. That is going to be an additional $55. Atlantis Submarine, that would be $40. Harrison Cave, $40. What we have added this year is Graeme Nature Park, and that we hope will be a hit because we have visited it and it is going to be an experience. They have a lovely aviary up there, along with a snake, which is always an attraction to children. And we also have a Scenic Bus Ride where you will be going to places of interest. You'll be allowed to get off the bus, see these places, and just explore for a little bit. And that, I believe, is going to be a very exciting tour. In terms of the feeding program, we again are going to be partnering with the government educational program, and from the school meals, they will be at every location that we have this year. So the students will be afforded hot meals every single day, and that usually starts in the second week of camp. We will also have vendors at every location to provide something outside of what the child may require. Moving on to registration. Registration forms can be downloaded off our website, where you have the pleasure of downloading, printing at home, and then coming to registration. Those will be available on our website from today. There's also instant registration for those who cannot download. You can come on the morning of registration and just fill out the form there. Registration is again $120 for the entire period, and you must bring 2 passport size photos for the registration to occur. If you don't have those photos, then we cannot process your registration. So I'm asking you to have the photos available. This is very important to us. Registration begins next Monday, June 30th at Blenheim House. This will run from Monday, June 30th to Friday, the 11th of July, and we are open from 9 to 5 p.m. 9 to 5 p.m. That is to accommodate parents who are at work and they wouldn't have time to get to the location during the day. We are open until 5, and that is for the first 2 weeks of registration. We are allowing late registration as well, which will incur a $10 fee, and that will run from the 14th of July until the 25th. So that will go into camp, the first 2 weeks of camp. We are also going to be open on Saturday, July 5th and Saturday, July 12th for any accommodations as well, and we will be open from 9 until 2 p.m. I believe I have covered it all so far. So if there are any questions, I will get them after.
Tracy, that was a beautiful overview. I guess everybody would have heard how much of a role the Sports Council plays in terms of overall development of children. I like the mental health aspect, the say no to bullying aspect. So as you can see, there's a critical role that we play, and thanks to Tracy and the team for working so hard every year to make sure that registration is seamless and a success.
Yeah.
Up next, I will ask our treasured, consistent, one of them, sponsors of the summer camp every year, Miss Sharon Carew-White. She is the marketing manager for C.O. Williams Construction Limited, and Sharon is going to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. After all that was said by Tracy and Ryan, as a sponsor, you can't say no to that, could you? So in 2024, C.O. Williams Construction pledged its continuous sponsorship in the areas of sports and culture in this Barbadian landscape. And once again in 2025, we are pleased to support the National Sports Council Summer Camp under their theme, Get Moving, Get Active, Go Sports. We all have benefited from summer camps. It's a supervised program, as you heard before. It's also during that long vacation. It offers recreational and educational activities for that age group who are most impressionable and most distracted, the youth. These extra locations that I heard Tracy speak about this year will provide a road to fostering skills just a stone throw away from many a person's homes. So easy access is something that I'm glad to hear about this year. C.O. Williams is always excited about developing our young generation. They are our future leaders. So come July, I think it's the 14th, but I should be corrected.
Yes.
14th, right. Let's get moving. Not only the earth to please, but our children to better activities and more sports. And once again, we are pleased to be on board.
Thank you, Sharon. Quite a witty.
Very well said.
I just want to acknowledge in their absence, Blue Waters is also a major sponsor of this year's camp. Unfortunately, the group brand manager for Blue Waters, she's unable to attend. So we do say thank you to Blue Waters again for coming on board. At this time, I don't know, Tracy, do you have anything to add? Ryan, anything to add before we take questions from the media?
Just would be the official camp dates. You have heard Sharon. I must thank Sharon. She's been on board assiduously, and I did not mention this with Dora Morris and my team of people who work with summer camp, but she is also a vital part of what we do with summer camp. Every facet of the culture. So every department plays some role in summer camp in some form or fashion, but Ms. Dora Morris is in from the start, in early, and she's our person who ensures that sponsors are on board. And anything that we need that she can help with, she's always willing. So thank you, Ms. Dora Morris. Camp dates, July 14th until August 22nd, with the exception of public holidays. We go right through those dates.
All right, so I just want to acknowledge the presence of Miss Paula Harper Grant from the JS. I don't know if you have any questions, Paula, I know you came in late at the end. Okay, no problem. All right, gentlemen.
Question. You mentioned one thing about stagnation. We
couldn't tell.
You mentioned one that was very important earlier when you talked about mental health and the greater mental health because of those children. But before right now, you hear things like, well, your child has nothing to do with you, you're stress about it. You see something, so right, you see suicide and so on and so forth. So how important do you think is mental health? Their issues of using sport as a means to help people deal with that. Because as we know, for adults, a lot of adults go to the gym, so to deal with stress is important. So what part do you think sports is to help children deal with the same stress as the next person?
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Okay, so mental health is extremely important for sports, and sports within itself addresses mental health as one of the natural components of your sports. Being mentally strong, being able to face challenges, adapt and move on, or adapt and overcome. That is very, very critical as a sports person. And that is something that the coaches will be instilling from that side. But as you rightfully said, we recognize that our youngsters these days are faced with ever-growing challenges, some that as adults we would not be even considering that a child may have to face, but unfortunately some of them do have to face these situations. That is why we wanted to add a component to help them, supply them with tools to be able to better address those issues if they're experiencing them or if they should happen, so that they have a few more tools in their toolbox. And this program that we're partnering is new to us, but it has been something that has been going on and has been in the schools, and he has been seeing some success with the program. So we were more than excited about getting on board with it because it provides another layer for our children, another area of protection, so to speak. Yes, we do deal with many of those issues in camp. Children come to camp, and of course, when you come to camp, you bring your luggage with you, and your luggage don't always be a lunchbox. So whatever luggage comes with you, we have to address. Our coaches have the training, fortunately, through the different sports, that, as I said, but that will only go as far as to a certain extent. Dealing with it in sports, the mental toughness that you need to be able to go forward, and they do try to show children how that can be applied to every day. But now we're taking it a step further and giving them the prerequisite tools to ensure that they can handle it.
Another question as well. You mentioned, of course, bullying and discipline as well. Those important disciplines like martial arts, fighting, boxing, wrestling, just mentioned. How important do you think those sports are compared to teaching discipline? Because when you get involved with those sports, there's a certain level of control you have to let. Once you are qualified, if you have to learn how to channel your anger, learn how to deal with anger, bullying, so on. The situation you have to let me say, Graeme, that his daughter went through something because she was trying to cause a situation for her. Not everyone is equipped with those same problem-solving skills or conflict resolution skills. But what do you think is sport with regards to helping children deal with that? It's like boxing, that's a challenge. That kind of such.
Okay, so you hit on quite a few areas there. Let me start first with go back to the one with the discipline. Combat sports are not the only sports that the discipline is through all sports. So that is one of the ground factors through any sport that you have. Combat sports, people tend to like to use combat sports as a channel, but actually combat sports will tell you that that is a last resort. That is the very last resort. It is about avoiding conflict and trying to find ways to talk it out or other methods. Combat and self-defense, that is a last resort. Within the sports arena, it is treated now, combat sports are treated like every other sport. You prepare, it's healthy, wholesome competition, and that is what you go into there. So although in the sports, you're gonna get that, again, that mental toughness coming out, that will help you to be able to recognize bullying and how to address bullying, right? And also the fact that I may be being bullied and I may not know what to do, but Tracy, who's one of my fellow campers, may recognize I am being bullied and she may be able to assist me in getting through it, whether that be getting me the help that I need, speaking to one of the counselors camp or the coaches that are on staff to help me move through that. But we're going to give them the tools. So bullying is going to be addressed as a very serious way. It's something that has always existed. From as far back as when I was a youngster, there was bullying, but again, we had more equipped tools to deal with what is needed. Just this morning on the radio, I heard the Deputy Prime Minister making some comments, and basically she was saying it takes a village. It takes a village. So we are going to surround these children with all of the necessary professionals and help that we can to be able to recognize bullying and properly deal with bullying. You don't have to respond with violence to bullying, but properly deal with bullying and stamping it out, because it starts at this young tender ages, from as young as you start 8-year-olds in camp, and if they know how to deal with it, that is something that will be phased out, because they will now come on and pass on to their friends, and everybody comes through the camp will learn how to address bullying in a proper way.
Any more questions? Assume silence means we're good? Okay.
Okay, one quick question. came late, so.
That's okay.
Will there be anything new or different added to some camps for this year?
In relation to sports, no. But as the guys were just discussing, we are going to be addressing a lot more mental health issues. So we're going to be meeting the students, the campers on their playing field. So through sport, we are going to be addressing mental health issues. We don't know if this may be an intervention or just a teaching moment, but either way, that is one of the things that we would want to address this year.
And also, any thoughts to maybe the exit service from children to see what really hit and really missed, so that going forward then these are areas we could address?
I don't quite understand the question.
Okay.
She said exit service or surveys?
Exit service.
Surveys.
Oh, service. I thought you said service. Yes.
Thought it was a little exit
Yes,
service.
yes,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
trying to like
Okay, so yes, that is something that we want to really capture as much information as possible on, because they were just addressing bullying, and it is something that we know people tend to channel children who have some behavioral challenges into these combat sports, and hoping that they can, get whatever anger or issues out. But we want to address it in a different way this year by having these talks, and the children are free to meet Dr. David Johnson. He is the person who's going to be facilitating this, and so that the children can have an avenue that they can talk. So if they can't talk, they can write, they can do anything, but we want to address it because we know that it is a problem that is plaguing our children today.
So just to reiterate, there will be some point person where children can go, who children can go to should any issues arise.
Yes, we will have that. We always have that, but this is kind of a sensitive area. It is kind of still taboo to some. So yes, we would have someone who they can go to if they should need.
I just want to make a point though that I don't know if Tracy and Ryan you touched on, and I'm glad that we have the media here. Parents play an active role, and if we don't have the buy-in and cooperation from parents, you can send your child to camp, any camp, whether it's sports council camp or any other camp, but you can work with any child.
Yeah.
I always hear teachers say that, camp counselors say that, but you have to have the buy-in and cooperation from parents and let them know what's required, by themselves and the campers, And if a child comes, I'm sure, to any of the camp assistants, any of the coaches with an issue, parents also have to be receptive.
Yes.
That their child may need an intervention or help.
Correct.
So I just want to put that out there because that's critical. If you don't have the buy-in from your parents, you're not gonna make any head.
It's true.
Really.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. So any more questions, Paula? We'll give you. All right. Cool. Thank you very much again. Thanks to the head table for making the effort this morning to attend. It will be a hectic few weeks. I know how registration process gets for the team. So thanks again to everybody. Thanks again. I want to acknowledge the senior coaches. They're not all here, but Denise Allen and Mr. Wayne Robinson. They play, like Ryan said, an active role in camp every single year. And the maintenance department, getting the facilities ready, etc. So just thank you to everybody. And of course, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, Sharon, for every year coming on board, answering our call, period. So thank you. And thanks to the media for taking time out to cover. I know you have a lot of things you can be covering, but we appreciate it. Yeah? All right. Thank you so much.